You can see that. Remember, this is giving us an edge, the edge of the image, the picture edge. And so we're being very intentional about where we place things. It helps us to consider how we crop the image and where we place things, as opposed to just letting them randomly spill off of the page. So this is where we'll do the collage, although some people have asked, and yes, it's okay if you do this digitally as well. You could add hand-drawn elements, hand-painted elements, but if you wanted to, it could be also just hand-cut collage. So I have my X-Acto knife, need that, glue stick, have my self-healing cutting mat, which I sent y'all. You should have all of these things in your packet, plus I have my pencil and ruler to draw my border. I would say, though, don't cut with this ruler, because what will happen is you'll get little lines where you cut into it, and it's not as good for marking things out. But if you wanted to, what you could do is mark out with a pencil and then cut that with an X-Acto knife, just so you don't damage the ruler. So National Geographics, I sent you 2 of these, of course, and I'm just going to find some images to use for this. Let's say that my superhero is to help someone gain calm, composure, mindfulness. Like, that's going to be their superhero skill or ability. And maybe this is the environment where they live. I want you to think about, I want to challenge you for this project to give yourself a lot to work from. It's good to have limitations, to say, I'm going to try to just use things out of these 2 National Geographics. For instance, it's good to have sort of those limitations. But on the other hand, too, I want you to not just pick the first sky that you see, but one that really fits for the mood, the feel, the vibe for your environment and for your superhero collage. So I'm just trying to find a figure now to use as an example. But say this is going to be your process, your technique. I would give yourself a lot of information first. We'll use this here. This will work. I like these 2. All right, so just a couple of tricks and techniques that I wanted to show you. I'm going to use this to cut. So one of the things that you could do too, you don't necessarily have to cut. You could tear. You could say, I need blue sky, and you're going to build up the image out of a lot of different blue sky image. And, you know, maybe this works for clouds, that softer edge, or water waves. Maybe you don't need something harsh and geometric. So think about that. This could be kind of like a mosaic style or stained glass. And I showed you 2 examples that's on canvas as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this. This is, oh my gosh, hiking. This is perfect for mindfulness, like being aware of your surroundings. So I'm going to cut one of these figures out, and that's my superhero. And I'm going to do this with my X-Acto knife, and I just want to show you, you're going to cut with the very edge of the blade. If you see this, where it comes to a point. And what you can do is kind of turn the blade almost like you're drawing with a pencil, if you see what I'm doing here. Kind of turn, and it'll make a nice even cut. He's got his backpack on, ready to hike. And being really careful so we don't tear this. But what I wanted to show you was, when we cut this out, we can get a nice even edge, and it'll look really neat. Now, to glue this down, well, I'm going to wait 1 second. I'm going to show you one other thing here. In thinking about, as we cut these images, that maybe there are some things that we design intentionally, and maybe there are some things too that just kind of happen as we are cutting. All right, we'll do this figure right here. So one thing that's cool is I want you to be thinking about, again, how to use these elements, composition. I'm going to cut this running figure out right here, and I'm going to use that in my composition. Maybe this guy is who I am trying to help. And I'm just going to cut this out neatly, carefully, not cutting it or myself. Watching and being mindful of where my finger and my hand is as I cut. His hand is pretty small, so I'm going to kind of work my way towards it as opposed to cutting it first and then cutting it away from it. If that makes sense, it is going to be more accurate. All right, so I have this cut out. And one thing that I want to show you is maybe once you've cut this out, you realize that doesn't look as interesting as I thought that it did. But I still like the figure itself. Well, flip it over. Maybe there's something interesting on the background. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Or maybe you use the negative space, this figure here, and then put some paper behind it like this. I could use this. I could glue this to my collage, or even the, random pieces, save those, use those, because this could be an interesting part of the collage. Or maybe you show it twice. Maybe you show this figure on here like this, and then you show the silhouette, like boom, creating a sense of movement. Now, to glue these down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece here that I cut, and I am going to put it where it should go, in the sky. But what I use is a scrap piece of paper. Here we have scrap piece of paper. Put this not on my sketchbook because it'll make a mess, not on my cutting mat, but separate on my workspace here. Take my glue stick and paint the back of the paper with glue, like so. And then I'm going to glue this onto my paper, like so. Then what I do is I take a clean scrap piece of paper and I burnish it down, like so. This is just going to give me a nice flat, clean edge. Like you can see, Emily's is the one that I shared, and hers just looked really, really slick. Another thing that I want to show you is, like, maybe it's difficult because it's a smaller piece. So what I can do, we're coming up on time here. How am I doing on time? I got about a minute left. Instead of like putting this down, I'm going to set this like this. And this is a trick. I do a lot of collages. So what I do is I just put it on top of the glue stick and move it around like so. Boom. And then I'm going to put him wherever. Actually, I'm going to glue him to this, and then I'm going to add him to my collage later because I'm not ready for him to be in there yet. But it's going to be on this pink background. One last thing that I wanted to show you that's pretty cool is we could also draw on a piece of paper first, like this, as a house, as an example. Let's see. I am going to, like, maybe his environment is this like modern building. So I draw that. Boom, modern looking house. Time's up. But what I wanted to show you was if I use this and take this, I can cut them at the same time. Boom. So if I just set this on top of that piece of paper, and then I can neatly cut both at the same time, like so. So you could add drawn elements or hand designed elements to your collage. And if I did it correctly, cut this out. And if I did it right, boom, look at that. Or maybe I use this, or maybe I use this. This could be interesting like that, right? So just a couple techniques that I wanted to show you.